I'm in love with you. This ain't the honeymoon. We're past the infatuation phase. We're right in the thick of love. At times we get sick of love. It seems like we argue every day. Nigga, are you lip syncing acting like it's you? We're just ordinary people. We don't know which way to go. 'Cause we're ordinary people. Maybe we should take it slow. Take it slow. Oh. This time we'll take it slow. Take it slow. Oh. This time we'll take it slow. In Jesus' name we pray. The Heavenly Father, first God, we thank you for your gift of life through your Son, Jesus Christ. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity, Father God, of fellowship, friendship, Father God, and just time to have conversation, Father God, and we pray that somebody will be impacted by it. Pray that somebody gain wisdom, knowledge, and understanding coming from you through one of us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Maybe leave somebody indelibly marked. What's up, man?
What's going on, brother?
How you feeling?
Good, man. Good.
One of the bases of me wanting to talk to you is, well, I've been wanting to talk to you,
Right.
but seeing you online recently,
Yeah.
singing the song Ordinary People.
Yeah.
I used to sing that song when I was younger when it come on.
Yeah.
I never really knew. I never cared or really paid attention to what the lyrics was or what it was. All I know, it was a fire ass song. You know what I'm saying? Not really diving into the lyrics or whatever. But after paying attention to the lyrics, after hearing you sing it, because you were singing it with so much conviction.
Yeah.
So I said, I wonder if this means something to him. When you hear Ordinary People, or when you listen to that, when you hear those words or sing those words, like, what does Ordinary People, what do you think the song mean? What is your interpretation of it? And does it connect to your life any?
I've always loved this song. I love John Legend, most of his music, but I think, frankly, this song is, to me, it's kind of self-explanatory in the sense that it's just like, we're still trying to find our way. We're all trying to find our way. No one's better than the other one. No one's, this relationship isn't any different than any other relationship. Like, we're still trying to find our way. You are you, I'm me. You're going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes. But we'll keep working together and kind of find our way through it. So that's the way I looked at it.
Where did you get that interpretation of it?
Just the lyrics and how I process.
I said when.
When?
Yeah.
Shoot, that was probably years ago. Just listening to the song. Because, I mean, most of the music that I'm listening to, either I'm trying to dissect the lyrics and kind of see what it's saying, or, the music resonates with me somehow, some way. I can hear a line, hear a note, something in the vocals that resonates in his home. So
years ago, so you think when it first came out, you were already hitting? Because, like I said, when it first came out for me, it was just a song, a fire-ass song.
Yeah.
So, but the lyrics had already resonated with you back then.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you had already understood what it was about or whatever.
Yeah.
So let's get into that.
Yeah.
It's basically where I want to go. Like, why does it resonate so well, and especially in relationship with, well, when you were speaking of relationship, you were speaking of relationship in whole, whether with a woman or whether with the homies or brother, sisters or whatever.
It's more so just relationship in general. Of course, for me, it's always been about relationship as far as I'm partnered with a woman. So, I mean, I've always been a relationship guy, I guess you could say. So, it's the lover boy, or however you want to call it. So, those lyrics, like, for me, even back then, it was just like, okay, this is something that I can relate to. Like, I can relate to it because that's who I am. Like, take the time to try to work through this, work this thing out, because I want to be here with you. You want to be here with me. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. So let's try to work it out and take our time to get to the next level, whatever that is. So.
Yeah. How important is it to keep that kind of like shit around you though, as far as like the music, the lyrics and stuff too? Because they always say the group around you is important too, like as far as where you're trying to be in life and what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
But do you need those affirmations through your music and all of that stuff too, just to keep you seeing in that direction? Because I could see how it could get hard at times to like forgive somebody for something or just look past something or just work through something, especially when you feel like you're a catch anyway and don't have to work through nothing a lot of times. You know, some people just feel like, man, I can get anybody I want. Why would I be sitting here dealing with this bullshit? So do songs like that help with that type of stuff?
I think for me, music in general, like since I was maybe 7, 8, 9, like it's just music in general. I've always like just sit and listen to the music. Like I was sitting and opening the cases, like 8, 9, 10 years old. I'm opening the case. I got the whole Boys to Men CD playing. I'm reading the lyrics, trying to identify with the music and the feeling of the music.
How old?
About 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there. Like I was a younger guy. I listened to my family is full of music. Like my pops sing, my sisters sing, my mom sing. We always had music. So it was always music for me to listen to, but just kind of getting older and being able to look at stuff for myself and read the lyrics and see what parts, I could relate to. Of course, I mean, that young, I ain't got no relationship or nothing like
So
that.
that's why I'm like that young.
Yeah,
It mattered.
Nah, it wasn't like that. But I could listen to the. I mean, you can hear the heart and soul in a lot of different music. Like when you hear Boys to Men sing, you can hear it's from the soul when they sing, and I can identify with that. Like it's soul to that. It means something. So, but for me, man, music is always therapeutic. Everything like just listen to. It's a lot of stuff that people listen to, that help them. I got to get into this mood or get into that mood, but I mean, the substance is that's what I've always listened to. It kept around me something that I hear that resonates with the heart or the spirit or resonates with my mind so that it's something that I can use, like you were saying, to kind of help me get to a certain point. Because, I mean, we can all experience love and breakups and all that stuff. So some people listen to music, some people go to the gym, I like to listen to music, during whatever times, happy times, sad times, whatever the case. So music is always therapeutic for me.
Do a lot of the shit that you take in call you out on your shit though?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and you got to like if you don't, like you just kind of setting, like you said, you setting yourself up for. I don't need to do nothing. I don't need to work on nothing. But how can I not work on anything? How can I not be any part of a problem in any type of relationship? There's something that I had to do with any relationship, whether it's friends, family, whatever the case may be. I had something to do with something. If a relationship is not what it's supposed to be, I can't blame nobody solely for the deterioration of any relationship at all. So I had something to do with it somewhere. Who doesn't matter what it is, where it is. Now it's my choice on how I choose to handle that and what I pick from it. Now what that has to do with the other person and like you were talking about with forgiveness and all of those things. Forgiveness is, I think for me, it's been easier to do. Learning more about it as I got older and deeper into the word and reading and getting a better understanding and understanding it's not for nobody else. It's not for nobody else. Like, I don't have to forgive you for you. I'm forgiving you for me.
Right.
And, it's cliche to quote, but it is a quote. Once you understand that you've been forgiven, that God forgave you, and the forgiveness and sacrifice of Jesus, it's a little easier to forgive somebody that just may have broke my heart or hurt my feelings or did something to me. I might not be the same and necessarily like, oh, you're completely forgiven and we good. Nah, it's still a work in progress. Like you're forgiven for me, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, the relationship can be mended or is gonna be mended, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. We'll bring it back to the relationship within humans in a minute. because you brought up Jesus and brought up God. And as far as my relationship with you you've always been a God-fearing person as far as I've known or whatever. And it seems as though your connection with him has always been so strong. Where does this connection come from, and how did it get so strong with him?
Man, life, bro.
Like,
Life, because I grew up in church. Mom, grandma, raised in church. Grandmother's first lady, grandfather's pastor. Mom always took us to church. But having my own relationship with him, um, you know, I went to church early and, I saved early, 11, 12. But I think it's probably about into my 20s, maybe mid 20s, that I was just really like, I used the saying, it's like I got tired of getting hit upside my head with the bag of quarters. It's like life got this, boom, like you done lost this, you struggling with this, and like I think one of the biggest points for me, I think it's like in '09, like '08, '09. I was just kind of, I knew God. I went to church, still going to church, still reading my Bible, but I was kind of living my own life. And I remember my oldest son asking me one Sunday. I got to the point because I stopped going to church for a little bit, and then one of the points was my oldest son that asked me. He said, I'm sitting there watching the football game with my son, and my son said, "Daddy, we're not going to church today," because he was so used to this is what we do with my dad. Me, my brothers and sisters, we get up, we eat breakfast, we get dressed, and we go to church with my dad on Sundays. And so that was kind of like one of the catalysts for me to say, "Oh, you really slacking. Like you really not where you're supposed to be. You're not going. You're not reading. You're here sitting here on Sunday watching the football game when you know you're supposed to be at church." And then shortly after that, maybe some months, a year after that, um, I lost my job. The engine of my car blew out, and I was already behind and ended up getting evicted, all in that matter of those months shortly after. And so at that point, I'm completely like homeless. I got all my clothes is in the car. I ain't got nowhere to stay. You know, I'm going from my homie's couch, this friend's house here, family member here. Let me stay a couple nights. Like it got to the point where I was literally walking on the street at like 2 a.m. trying to find somewhere to go because I ain't had nowhere else to go. And it was just like going through that process, getting all the way down to being homeless to the point where you don't have nowhere to go and you're trying to figure out where to go. And then coming from that to, kind of building back up to it and kind of restoring my faith. Because I lost it. Like I was just like, this is my own little life that I'm living. Like I love God, I'm gonna go on Sunday, but you start there with, "Oh, I love God, I'm gonna go on Sunday," and now it's a miss a Sunday. I didn't read today. Mm, okay, I didn't read a couple of days, so now I'm trying to. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. And life keeps coming while you trying to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Life don't stop. So, I'm gonna get to it, but I do this, I do this, I got that, I got that. I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to it, and just like God let me go this far. It's like, all right, this is your cutoff point. So now you got two choices. Either you can try and take it further and fall further, or you can come back. And it was right around that time, like I was just like, yeah, I gotta get back to it.
You heard a audible voice, like you heard him say that, or you just felt like in your mind the
It's
Holy Spirit. You felt like the Holy Spirit was like more speaking to
Yeah, definitely it was the spirit speaking to me. And it wasn't, I know people say they hear the audible voice.
you.
For me, it's been mostly the common is still. It's like a small. I guess you could say voice too, but it's like a calm and a still. Say this is where you need to be going. This is what you need to be doing. and kind of that guidance that way for me.
So you can decipher the two, because I often struggle with that.
Yeah.
Like decide, like, is this guy telling me to do this, or am I just thinking this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How you could decipher this?
Yeah, and I think most times what it is because there's so many different voices going on, and like you were talking about, like we were just talking about, what you take in makes a difference too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just musically, the conversations you have, those can have an effect on your thoughts. But if you're going to really hear, you need to sit still and be able to listen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just kind of clear out everything and just listen, just hear. And like I said, it doesn't have to be necessarily an audible voice, but I can sit and listen and get an understanding and that calmness and that peace about where I'm going, what I'm supposed to be doing, how I'm supposed to be doing this. And then on top of that, it's always confirmation, always from somewhere. Somehow, somewhere is confirmation. It don't even have to be nobody or anything that I'm familiar with, but it's confirmation.
The confirmation comes at that moment or like afterwards for you, like a lot of the times, because I think sometimes when I feel like it's God talking to me, and then a lot of times the confirmation be like, okay, so that was God.
Hmm.
Like after it happened,
Yeah,
it's not like right there. I just
yeah,
like, it's a sign it drops from, like, when it drop one of these soundproof
yeah,
things, and I'll do the, yeah, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I don't get confirmation in that way for
yeah,
real. I don't think, I can't recall.
yeah.
So yours is usually,
Well, it's like I said, it's a combination of both, but it depends on how long I sit and listen to.
yeah.
Like, because if you're just sitting for a second, you're like, all right, I'm up, I'm out. Like I did my time, I sit and listen. But nah, like sit and listen, like really shut everything and everyone out and sit in stillness and silence and listen.
Mm-hmm.
And God will talk to you, man. You speak to your spirit, speak to your heart, and you can understand and discern that this is God talking to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas the closer you get in that relationship, the less you have to rely on signage. Like, here, show me something
Mm-hmm.
so that I know it's you. You can rely on, okay, I can hear your voice, I can feel your presence, so I know it's you. You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of like, cause like listening or reading the Bible or listening to looking at the movies, or listening to audio versions of it. I would see when he has done all these miracles
Hmm.
in front of the disciples and stuff, and then you get the part where Peter, when they're on the boat, and Peter was like, "If it's you, God, call me out to the
Yeah.
water," or whatever. It's kind of like, my nigga, like, you still don't believe after all of this. So is that kind of what you saying? Like, you kind of begin, I've done all of this,
Hmm.
and you've sat with him so much that you know it's going to work if I go the way he told me to go,
Yeah.
kind of like that.
But yeah, I think sitting and being familiar, like that's what I say, you gotta sit and
Yeah,
listen to be familiar with it so you can discern
yeah,
what's what. Cause if you don't know his voice, you kind of can't gather what direction you're going in. Like, is this me? Is this him? You know, and then you rely more on, what I see
hmm,
happening versus, okay, I can hear you clearly. So I have to, like, it's like, the more you sit and listen, the more time you spend with God, alone with just you and God, the more you're going to be able to hear and recognize the way that he speaks to you
yeah,
so that you understand it. And it's less and less about what he does versus what he says. And he says,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying, that he confirms in your spirit. So,
Dude, I don't care how long I sit with God, how much I pray, how much I read, how much I love God. I still get impatient with him.
oh,
Like,
yeah.
I get impatient, and I be like, "Come on, man, what's
Yeah.
what's happening? What's Now?" I do bring myself back, but I'm
Yeah.
just, people need to know, like, even people who have a deep love or really believe in God do get
Yeah.
impatient with him or whatever. And I'm saying that to say, like, I would say you would even be like, to me, stronger in that field of God than I
Yeah.
am. So what is like some of those times when you get impatient? What is those like? What are those like?
Bro,
Can you even remember a time like that you was like really like, hey yo, you on some bull?
yeah, it's a it's literally this past, like I said, this past what year or so. Trying to transition with the family and where I'm going, and that whole process is just like, Lord, I've heard you. Like, I know what you said. I know what you told me. I know what you've shown me. I've seen the vision in my head a million times. You've given me little pieces, little glimpses. What we doing? Like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to. I'm doing what you asked me to do. I'm continuing to talk to you. I'm continuing to read and to learn and try and grow and improve. But like, you ain't giving me nothing to go on here. And I'm trying to get here. I've been waiting on you to get here. And you still won't let me go here. Like, what we doing? But I think coming to the point of saying, nevertheless, your will be done. Like, as much as I get frustrated or impatient about something waiting, I had to understand and still have to understand, because I have moments where it's just like, okay, God gonna do what he gonna do. He gonna do what he gonna do. And I just have to wait until he does it. Because if I don't wait, I'm gonna screw it up trying to do it my way. And it's not gonna go the way that it could have gone or that it was supposed to, because I'm trying to do it. It never goes the way it's supposed to when we do it. It may go what we think is good, but it's not going the best way possible, as if we waited and waited for him to do it, or waited for him to put the opportunity out there for us to do it. It'll always be something off if he's not in it and if he doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. I think a lot of my impatience comes from, and you can tell me if it's the same with you, a lot of my impatience comes from wanting to please other people. You know what I'm saying? So it's, if I already have a relationship with God and I know, yo, this it be happening though. He always makes it happen. I'd be like, it be dang near last moment a lot of times, crunch time and stuff like it always happens. But it's hard to get people to, or hard to even believe that people are on your same type of time with believing God is going to come through, and you feel like that pressure is on you to make it happen. So you take God out of it without realizing you taking God out of it. You start moving on your own without his whole, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's where I be messing up a lot of the time, because I'm trying to please people. So I move how I want to move or whatever, versus keeping God in it.
Yeah. But I mean, even with that, like, you're the ambassador, you're the example for the people. So they press, it's really not them pressing you, it's them pressing God about it. So you're just the example. Like, I say often, like, bro, I'm just the ambassador. Like, I'm just here to show you
the vessel,
who he is, and try to get you to him. Like, I'm still just as flawed as you. I get impatient too, but you can't I can't let you press me, because what you're doing, you're not really pressing me or trying to push me. You're pushing God, and you can go around me and get straight to him. You ain't gotta wait. You ain't gotta wait on me. Bypass me, please, and go to him. Because that's where you're gonna find what you need and get the understanding that you're looking for. You ain't gotta wait on me to do it.
Yeah.
So
people make it tough to balance being a human being and them, like, they look at you like you can't do nothing wrong, bro. Or if you doing this, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, and they make it. I think with me, I always try to show people the humans. I know I'm still me. I still listen to rap music. I still listen to the same music. It's just a different way I go about things.
Yeah.
I can here, not to say I don't get influenced like regular people,
Yeah.
but I can come down up off that influence because I lean more towards God or where when
Yeah.
I feel myself shifting, and I haven't always been like this,
Yeah.
but when I feel myself shifting, I'd be like, all right, give me, let's just say in porn, with porn addiction, I had a bad porn addiction. So when I feel nowadays, when I feel like the urge to even look at one or whatever, which don't even come as often as it used to be like, all right, God, just don't just give me the strength to not, you know what I'm saying? Cause you might scroll through Instagram or something, not even trying to run into nothing. It's
right
really just set up for you a lot of times. Like, nigga, I don't even follow these type of people. Why they right here or whatever? I'd be like, all right, God, listen, keep me away from them sites you don't want me to be on or whatever. Because I'm weak and I need you to intervene. You know what I'm saying? So, but people, I think it's very important for me to let people know that I'm still like human. I still like these things and these things besides the porn thing, like rap music and all of that stuff. I can still connect to you on a certain level. I am of God. I am of love or whatever. So you don't feel pressure to be a certain way around me, but you don't need to pressure me to be a certain way either. Like, cause I'm human. You know.
And I'll to touch on a couple of the points that you actually made. That's one of the things that I feel like has been missed a few times because it's not that I'm perfect or that I'm way above anything. And it's a everyday thing. Like I struggle with stuff every day. It's thoughts that I have that I shouldn't have. It's things that I do that I shouldn't do. It's things that I say that I shouldn't say. But I don't try to hide that from nobody. Of course, without, you don't tell everybody everything. But I don't try to hide the fact that I struggle or that I have issue because then that wouldn't be realistic. And that doesn't push you towards getting to know or getting a relationship with Jesus if you think that as soon as you do, you have to be here and everything else has to stop. Nah, it's a day-to-day process that you have to work out with you and him. And to go back to, the topic that you were talking about, even with the porn, like that was a struggle for years. It's not as much a struggle now, but for me, that was a huge struggle. I had a whole addiction, and when I was a younger dude, to it. So much so that I would even hide it from my girlfriend or the lady I was dating at the time. Like I don't want you to know that I had so much of this going on. But a part of getting away from that was getting to the root of the problem. And like that was a real, like for me, I had to sit with me and God, like literally sit and pray and talk to God every day, like, and try to figure out like, okay, what's the issue? Like where did this all come from? Where did this all start from? What happened that kicked all of this off? Because it's not like you can't have sex. Like you can do that. You can go out here and get a girl and you can do that. So why do you need this so much? Or why do you even feel like you need it? Why do you feel like you need this in order to fulfill something? Well, the first things first, I'm trying to fill that void because that's a void I ain't filled with Jesus yet. That's an area that I haven't put Jesus in. Like Jesus, you come in this area, you come in this area, you come in this area. But that over there, I ain't put you in. That's my own personal thing. But after sitting with it and dissecting it, and some people go to therapy for it, which I think you should. A lot of people should get therapy. But for me, that process of sitting with Jesus and getting back to the root cause, which was, dang, at 9 years old, you were, did you say rape? Rape? I guess it was rape.
Molested.
Yeah,
right?
molested, rape, whatever. But my babysitter's a little older than me. She's like 14.
It's always the
Yeah,
babysitter.
the babysitter. But it's just like those things were arousing you at 9 years old. You shouldn't have even been involved in that. Okay, and so then you go from 9 years old, that being awakened in you, to the very first time I saw porn, I was 10. So my pop's crib, pops wasn't home. I'm supposed to be there watching TV. I press play, there's porn on the TV. You know what I'm saying? I know in this box is porn over here. So this stuff started all from there. Everything that I was experiencing and everything that I dealt with came from those two experiences
Mm-hmm.
starting at 9 or 10. And so it was just that already being awoken. And then when you go through, certain parts of growing up, it's just like, well, I don't really know what else to do with these feelings. So I have to find some way to, get this stuff out my system where I feel better. And I really need this because it's a desire of mine. I really gotta have it. I didn't
Yeah.
have to have it, but I felt like I had to
Mm-hmm.
have it because that was opened up in me when it shouldn't have been. You know what I'm saying? So I had to sit with God on that and say, now I understand the root cause. Now I understand why. Now I can work on getting away from it. Now I can
Mm-hmm.
work on cutting myself off from it. And not just cutting myself off from it, because I went back and forth a million times. Like, cut myself off, we gone for 6 months, then we back on it for 6 more months. I'm gone for a year,
Yeah.
then I'm back on it again. It's like, all right, how you stop with putting yourself in position? Because it's not struggle if you're not resisting, bro. Like, if I'm not resisting, it's not a struggle.
Ooh, talk about
Like, if
it.
I'm not resisting, I'm not struggling. You have to resist something to struggle with it. So it's just like, okay, if I'm not resisting, I'm just kind of shooing it away. I'm just kind of pushing it to the side.
uh,
So how do I resist it? Okay, I got to put safeguards in place. I got to have some accountability. I got to talk to somebody and be open and honest about this. And then on top of that, I had to put safeguards in place so that I can't do what I naturally desire to do. So I'm blocking this, I'm cutting this off. Here's the passcode, the pin, this, that, and the third. Even still to this day, I have to have that in place. If I don't, I know there comes a point where I'm just gonna be like, I got some time, I'm feeling away. I could do, just a little, watch a little, just look at a little
yeah,
something.
I ain't got
It
a
ain't gonna
jacket.
hurt.
I ain't got
Yeah.
to come when
Yeah,
that
it ain't gonna
jacket.
hurt. Just let me take a look. But I can't, because that's gonna start the process and I'm back down that rabbit hole
Uh,
again. But that's where I had to understand where it all came from and where it all started first before I could actually get to the point of healing and getting better in that
mm-mm.
process. But that was a lot of what happened to me. So
At 9 years old, when you if you can remember, when the babysitter approached you, was it an ongoing thing
yeah,
with her? So was it actual intercourse?
actual.
Like
Yeah, it was actual
9
at
years
9.
old, you weren't ejaculating, were you?
I don't think I did.
If that's a
I don't
proper
think.
word,
Yeah, I
I
mean
think
that's the
that's
proper word.
yeah.
I don't think I did. But it was a ongoing thing because it was unknown.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you got this little 14-year-old girl. It's like, oh well, we're gonna play a game, like we're gonna play house. You know what I'm saying? So, oh, you
Uh-huh.
you and me, you're the mom and the dad and all of that stuff. But it started there, and then you go to, well, you're spending the night here because my mom trusts you,
Yeah.
my dad trusts you. But when everybody go to sleep, you sneaking out of the bed with my sister. You come over here with me. It's like at 9, I don't grasp the concept of what's going on because I'm 9.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not thinking about this stuff like this. I'm just like, well, I guess this is what I'm supposed to do. I guess this is what's supposed to happen because this is what she's telling me is supposed to happen. So
How she keep you from saying anything about it though? Cause you thinking it's supposed to happen.
yeah,
So if you think it's supposed to happen, you probably like so it's not a bad thing to tell my parents because
yeah,
this is supposed to happen. But obviously she had to put something there to where you wouldn't tell your parents
yeah,
if it was ongoing.
yeah. Well, I think it was just more so me not really understanding. Like, I really didn't understand. I just knew that she's cool. This is the person who babysits me. And this is just the stuff we do when we're around. Like, this is cool. It's not necessarily like oh, shh, don't tell nobody. This is a secret type deal. It's just kind of like, oh, this is our little thing. This is how we play. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, like, I'm a kid. This is our thing. This is how we play. So this is what we doing. I ain't really think nothing of it.
Did you start to look forward to her coming and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So at that time, you didn't see it as molestation
Yeah,
and obviously
yeah.
rape or whatever. Nowadays, when you think about it, do you remember exactly like how she was and her name and all of
I
that?
remember
No,
her name. I remember
I
what
ain't
she
telling you
looked
to
like.
say her
No, no,
name.
no. I remember her name. I remember what she looked like. All of that
Yeah.
stuff. But I I don't. And I didn't sit and dwell on it. I remember it though, because it's time from my childhood that I remember.
You forgiving her, obviously.
Oh yeah, I ain't had no issue because at the same time, I was a kid. You're a kid, but the fact that I ain't see you and know you no more in it's like I was 9, bro. Like I haven't seen and talked to that lady in the years since. I had no
Yeah.
idea what her life has had going on and none of that. So
So you believe at 14 you're still actually a kid anyway, so
yeah,
you can't really.
yeah,
It's funny. A lot of people would like do that to people though, like a 14-year-old, even to 12-year-old or whatever, and then be like, "Yo, you uh took advantage of this person," but they
yeah,
actually don't really know what they doing a lot of the times because it was done to them
yeah,
and they thought it was all right.
yeah,
Or whatever. Not to give anybody no excuse, but like when you put it like that, you are actually still a kid at 14, but we're looking at it 14, 9.
yeah,
Nah, she on some other
yeah,
stuff. But that's what she was told to her, probably like, hey,
yeah,
this is just a game,
yeah,
to the point where she started craving it, but whoever was giving it to her, she they had took it from her,
yeah,
probably.
yeah,
So she found the way to get it
yeah,
when she got
yeah.
to
Because
use it.
waking that desire up at that time, it's like you aren't supposed to really honestly and just maturing as you get older. That desire, of course, comes, but you're growing and maturing. So, you wake up stuff that's in you that's supposed to be a natural desire too early, and now you stuck with I'm not mature enough to handle it. So I just handle it the way I know how to handle it. I just do what
Hmm.
I know to do,
Yeah.
which, that's with anything with people. I didn't look at her as necessarily a bad person because she did what she knew to do. You know what I'm saying? She
Hmm.
did what she thought in her mind was okay and was right.
Hmm.
I did what I knew to do at that time being a kid. I didn't know no better. So that's what I did. I continued with it until that time was over with. So, I don't even really think she knew really what it was or what it was about.
Yeah.
Like that, like she just did what she knew to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's something that just people in general, people only do what they know to do, which I can't really fault nobody too heavily on what you're doing without the intention because it's what you knew to do. It's what you understand to do that's okay, that's right.
Hmm.
This is how you see it. It's like me, it's like me being upset with somebody because they, or me, I'll use my relationship with my pops, for example. I was upset with my pops for a long time, angry with my pops for a long time because you wasn't around, you wasn't coming to check on us, you wasn't calling and texting. You would show up and then you disappear. You here for a little bit and it's cool, and then you not here. But as I got older and got an understanding, a better understanding, my relationship with God growing, he did what he knew to do. In his mind, he did what he thought was best. He did what he thought was okay, and there's nothing I can say to you
Hmm.
about that because you didn't know no better. Now you had a choice on whether you choose to try and figure it out, but in your mind, that's how this is normal. This is okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I couldn't fault him for that because that's he just did what he knew to do, like most people do. So I don't get bitter or not angry about it. You did what you knew to do. You did what you thought was best, and so from that point, that's human nature. You're human. You made a decision based on what you thought. It happens.
Pops not being there, you probably don't have like a real uh example of relationship in your home for real like
Mhm.
that. Then this happens with the young lady or
Mhm.
whatever. How did that mold you in relationship? How did, because it's crazy that and from what I know of you,
Yeah.
you are a lover boy. You
Yeah.
are like that type of dude or whatever. How does that design you though for how does that even like prepare you for a relationship in the fucked up ways
Yeah.
or the maybe it helped you in ways because it pushed
Yeah.
you away from stuff like how did you see that
I,
design?
I think for the most part, as far as my dad was concerned with relationship, it was more so I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that. Because I also saw when I was around, like I lived with my father on a couple of occasions. I see how you treat women. I see how you talk to women. I see how you deal with women. It's opposite from what I'm taught at home with my mother, with my grandmother, with my cousins who are majority female, my sister, and all of like I'm raised around women and raised with a respect for women. But at the same time, I see my pops. I'm like, yeah, I don't necessarily want to do that. But if you around, you kind of see that all right, some of that stuff could be there because that's my pops. You know what I'm saying? And just I think more so learning to figure out, okay, what do I not want to take from what I've seen and what can I use? Because it's not like I don't ever say my pops is a terrible person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was around, he's the most loving dude in the world, he's a great dad. But, there's other parts of it where it's just like I don't want to do that. I don't want to take that, and then that's not what I'm seeing at home. Like this is not the way that I want my mama to be treated. So this is not the way that I would choose to treat somebody else. Growing up with my mother and my grandmother, and like I said, going to church and seeing my grandfather and the people that I knew at church, and their relationships with God, I wanted to find another example of okay, how am I supposed to be in relationships? How do I be a man in this situation? Like, and that took some learning because I ain't know nothing about that. Like, I had to learn the process, take the process of learning. Okay, this is what I don't have, so I need to pick up different pieces. I wanted to. I didn't want to take on any of the characteristics that I saw, the negative ones that I saw from my pops with
Hmm.
women. So I took everything that my mama taught me, the characteristics that I thought were positive from my pops, and then so okay, let me try to find different examples that I see that okay, this is a man, this is a good man, this is a good man in a relationship. So I just try to pick up examples from what I knew or what
Right.
I could see that were necessarily better.
Yeah, but then you still got the experience
Yeah,
with the younger lady,
yeah,
which you lose your innocence
yeah,
at an early
yeah,
age. Does that in some way it's hard because you do have your grandparent and your grandmother and your mother in the home that
hmm,
kind of you want to your sister make sure you treating
yeah.
the lady right, but then you have this one who gives you this experience. Does that make you aggressive in wanting that experience from other younger girls when you're girls around your age,
Yeah,
but they probably haven't experienced that stuff yet,
yeah,
but it makes you really want it bad or whatever, and does
yeah.
that make you shoot them to the side when they don't want to?
No, I wouldn't even say it made me shoot him to the side. I think it was just having that desire there and like I said, having it opened up, it was more so of this is what I want. But the opposite side of that was what I'm taught versus what I want. Y'all just keep clashing. And
Hmm.
so this is what I'm taught. My respect level for my mother and my grandmother and what they taught me was, more of a pushback on that desire until
Hmm.
I actually got to an age where I could, what I'm saying, do what I wanted to do. It's like, all
Hmm.
right, what I'm saying, I keep this at bay, keep this at bay, keep myself involved in other stuff. And it was something I never talked to them about. I didn't tell my mother or grandmother until I was late into my 20s that any
No.
of this stuff had happened. So they never knew.
So like football and all of that kind of
Yeah.
distracted you from your desires
Yeah, the
a lot
constant
of
the
the time.
constant desire of it all the time. So, I'm playing football in middle school and high school, football, basketball, run track, and I mean, as a teenager, I was able to do a lot of other things that, a lot of teenagers I'm finding out wasn't able to do. Like I could take mom's car and just go hang out with the homies. Like I could go to the park, we're gonna get something to eat, and go out to the mall, do I was doing all of that stuff. So, what I'm saying, it was kind of like I had the opportunity to have some freedom and make good decisions. So I was allowed the opportunity to kind of, go different places and experience different things. And I mean,
Mhm.
we moved a few times, so it wasn't like I was ever really like planted or rooted somewhere where I had deep roots and deep connections to people like that. So it's just like, I know I was able to move around a little bit,
Mhm.
so I could kind of keep going.
If you remember, like your first relationship, real relationship, where you well, at least what you felt was real, and where you actually may have felt hurt and you may have felt love or whatever.
Mm,
Though that type of relationship is what I'm talking about.
mm,
How Aaron was then when he felt like he knew what love was
mm.
then, he versus now.
That was what, middle school, Aaron?
You felt like you knew what love was
I
in middle
did.
school.
But you gotta remember, this is 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old Aaron. Just listen to Boys to Men, bro. Jagged
Yeah,
Edge and
yeah,
all
yeah,
that.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
112. I'm listening to love
yeah,
song.
yeah,
That's what I'm listening to.
yeah.
So, that played a part too. Um, but I think, understanding it from that point in middle school, it's just, where I'm, write the notes and go to lunch and all
Mm-hmm.
that other stuff. And I love you. You hang up. No, you hang up and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
It's just that feeling
Puppy
of
love.
love. Yeah, that feeling of
Yeah.
love, not understanding, I think, more the sacrificial part of it. And then also on top of that, the active part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like I could say, in middle school, oh, I love you, I love you too. I don't have to do nothing but talk nice. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to prove that
Yeah.
in middle school, but
And not talk to another girl,
yeah,
maybe.
right.
Yeah. Sure.
But the older I get and the older I'm, the more I'm getting into more relationships, I'm understanding it's like, all right, it's not just what you say, it's what you're doing that that doesn't match up or is matching up with what you're saying. Like, okay, I can say I love you, but I'm not gonna make no time for you. Like I'm not gonna help you with nothing. I'm not gonna try to, give you no advice. I'm not gonna do nothing. Like I don't really love you like that. Like I say I do. If I'm not putting that into action, you know what I'm saying? And then also on top of that, again, getting deeper into the relationship that I got with Christ, understanding that sacrifice is love, is a part of loving too, as a man. So for me, I got to the point where I could understand, okay, I sacrifice my time, energy, efforts, but also you forgot to sacrifice your pride over here. So you know what I'm saying? I know you right. I know you good. Like I know this is correct. This is what you said was correct, Aaron. But you didn't sacrifice your feelings in that point for the sake of the relationship.
Yeah.
Your pride won that. So that's different from like it's different levels to it.
Your
And I
pride won, the relationship didn't win.
yeah,
Yeah.
my pride won that with the relationship that win. I think you know, going to church and I remember, one of the pastors and him says, you haven't hung, bled, or died for that relationship. You ain't really sacrificed.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't hung up none of your foolishness, none of your old ways, none of your baggage that you bringing in that could be detrimental to the relationship. You ain't really sacrificing. You ain't died to no parts of yourself
Die to
or what you
yourself.
want. You ain't died to none of your desires, your pride, your stubbornness. You ain't died to none of that stuff. You ain't really sacrificed for the relationship. Like it's blood, sweat, and tears is what they say. Like, have you cried for that relationship? Has there been any point where you've given that much to the vulnerability and the openness of your relationship where you shed tears about this? You know what I'm saying? What type of work are you doing? Are you physically working
Are you
for your
taking a
business?
beating?
Yeah. Are you working for your relationship? Are you taking that beating, bleeding for your relationship? If you haven't done that, you ain't sacrifice.
And is it still God forgive them
Yeah.
and forgive me?
Still.
Is it still that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Super flawed, Aaron,
Mhm.
in relationship
Yeah.
versus just flawed, Aaron, in relationship.
Mhm.
What's some of those super flaws? I'm not speaking on relationships in general. I'm
Yeah.
speaking on what are some of those things you had to be like, yuck. Of course, I say versus flawed, Aaron, because we're all going to be flawed regardless. So
Yeah.
you're still flawed, but super flawed with the shit that you sing. Like, man, look, I don't know how you even dealt with that for so long. What that look like
As far as for me,
for
or just
those things that you acknowledge, whether they had to help you realize that about yourself, and the things you kind of looked at like, I'm like that,
yeah.
like you know what I'm saying?
I think one of the biggest things, and I mean, it still has its issues, but the like stubbornness and pride of nah, that's not how this is what it is. This is what it really is.
Mhm.
And there's no grace, there's no forgiveness in that. Straight cut to the point. This is not how that works. This is not how that's going. There's no room for error in that. That was like it was a staple because it's like you live up to this standard. You fit, so to speak, in this picture frame right here. The moment you don't do that, you have to go. The moment you don't fit in that, you're done. And either it spirals downward from there or you're immediately gone. And it's just like, well, take a look at that frame in from from the lens of how God looks at you. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the big one. How you gonna do this to somebody and God don't do this to you? God didn't do that to you. You did that yesterday. And he said, all right, Aaron, you done. You good. That's it. I'm done with you. There's no grace, no forgiveness, no nothing for you. Having that understanding later on, it definitely made some changes. I'm like, yeah, that ain't good. I ain't supposed to be like that. Not even supposed to be like that. And even still, with just some of the flaws, some of the stuff with dealing with people. I know everybody's just like, oh, it's cool. Cut everybody off about your peace to a certain extent. To a certain extent. You don't want things disturbing your peace or your relationship with Christ. You don't want those things that are detrimental to that. But like I said, I still, even though it's not as bad, if there's an issue, we can try to talk about it. We can work it out. But at a certain point, it's a dead point. And I don't wish you no hard feelings. I don't
Mhm.
have no ill will against you. But I can continue on without that moment in my life. I mean, that's still a flaw. It's just not as bad as it was,
Yeah.
where it's just like immediate. Now taking time to kind of work through the process. There's an opportunity for reconciliation. It's an opportunity for change. It's an opportunity for growth. Okay, we can talk about like it's an issue. Let's talk. Down to whatever it is, the worst of the worst. We can have that conversation, but it gets to a point where it's continued, and you see people constantly pressing and pressing and pressing that line, and it's like, oh, it's no problem. We'll just talk about it, and we'll get it figured out. No, at a certain point, that stops, and here now we have to go separate ways. Now we have to, so to speak, is I'm gonna let you go where you want to go, and everything that was said and done, you have to stand on that
Mm-hmm.
because now we're here. I'm always going to talk to people, always give opportunity for reconciliation. We can talk and try to figure stuff out, but at a certain point, you have to stand on what you said with me now. I can't let you continue to push back and forth. You said that, you felt that, this is what happened, this is what was done. We've talked about it a million times before. Now you stand on that. Which I know that's not 100% correct. I
Mm-hmm.
know that's not 100% correct, but I'm still, I have to work on that.
Yeah. I mean, at least you know you got to work
Yeah,
on it. Speaking of that frame, though,
yeah.
that frame. Another thing you'll notice when you look at that frame
Mhm.
as a person who wants to build a family or
Yeah,
build love and stuff, you by yourself in that frame
yeah,
still.
yeah,
Yeah, you so you would think at some point you look at it like, all right. why am I still lonely in this frame? And I see pictures all the time with multiple people in people's frames,
Yeah.
a wife, kids, and all of that. Why am I sitting alone in this frame without the love that I desire
Yeah.
so much? And that's when you start to really look inside yourself like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is wrong
Yeah.
with me? Then
Yeah.
you look there and be like, ew.
Yeah.
Because a lot of that stuff, if you seen it on somebody else,
Yeah.
you'd be like, nigga, why did you like that?
Yeah.
Or do better. Because like me, like you, where we do share the same thing is we both give advice to people,
Yeah.
whether willingly or whether we want to or they're coming to us for it
Yeah.
or whatever. And sometimes you just catch the advice like, I'm talking to myself
Yeah.
though, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think that's dope too. Like when you're able to do that, but the problem with a lot of people is they give off this advice or they give off they talk to the person they're talking to within the relationship about
Mhm.
their flaws or
Mhm.
whatever, but they're really talking to themselves and
Yeah.
don't realize they talking to themselves, not looking in the mirror, so to
Yeah.
speak. It's stuff like that. So, l- what do you was about to say something?
I was just gonna say, like,
Go ahead.
that's the, and I understood this later on. That's the God doing that. Because I can always say, people say, oh, and, I talk to you, I come talk to you, get advice, and people randomly show up out of nowhere. That's all God's doing because He wants you to come here. He has something that apparently I have to say to you that He wants you to hear. But I'm never, ever, ever, I'm not smart enough to know that much, to know how to help you or to know how directly this impacts your life. I'm not. That's God talking to you. He's just using me. But that's him talking to you. But I understand that too. That's why God does that. That's why he, even if I don't want to talk sometimes, here's somebody that wants to have a conversation.
Uh-huh.
I don't feel like it. Here's somebody that wants to have a conversation. And sometimes it's therapeutic because I'm listening and I'm hearing and it's like, okay, this is for me. And I can come from, being in a bad spot to listen to myself and listening to someone and having a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And now my spirit's uplifted now because I'm hearing the words that God is speaking through me for this other person. But no, it's for you too.
Yeah.
This is for you. It's
Yeah.
always, but it's always for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's the Bible itself is a mirror. It's a reflection. So you're going to read it and say, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. And if you don't, you're not really reading it correctly with the correct intent. Because if you can read it to point out somebody else's issues, but you can't use it to point out yours, somewhere there's a disconnect. Because that's not what God designed it for. It wasn't designed for you to just take it and beat people with it. I'm gonna hit you with this. This is what this is. This is what this is. Nah, brother, look at yourself. And what do you see in there that looks pretty similar? Oh, okay. So don't take that to this next person. I'm talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking to them. This is for you. The same way with the conversation. No, no, no. This is you talking to them, but this is for you. I need you to listen to this. Because you do that afterwards. You like, yeah, you was talking to me. That
Yeah.
was mine. That was for me.
Yeah.
I understand now.
God do work his own way because I was gonna ask you something else, but I'm like, scratch that now. You made me want to think about you made me want to ask you what is your favorite story in the Bible and why?
Man,
What has
I
the
think
one that's always like connected to you or you've always went back to like for some reason you just like rock with that story?
Job,
Why?
the story of Job.
Yeah.
Um, because even though I didn't get as much as he got taken away, it's just like that fall from grace
Mm-hmm.
and then those things being restored. Because from from everything that happened that led to me being homeless, it took me like almost 10 years to get back to a place of stability from all of that. And in between that 10 years, it's relationship, it's marriage, it's divorce, it's kids. You know what I'm saying? All of this stuff going on. It's, you financially building up and you down and you up and you down. And now here you are, later. I've restored these things to you and I've given you more
Mm.
than what you even had. Not even in a financial sense, but you're a much wiser man now.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're a much more loving man. You're much more kind. You're much more compassionate. You're much more forgiving now. Now you find a way to do what I asked you to do without me having to push you to do it because it's in your heart to do. So, all of that stuff, I look at it from the Job perspective of, being taken down to what you feel like is absolutely nothing or the worst thing that could be. Like I look at things from a different perspective now because, people get tied up in little stuff. Oh, I'm struggling with this, stress with that. And to me, because I've been there, I'm just like, I ain't walking on the street trying to figure out where I'm trying to stay. Like this is light work. Like this little bill past due. That's I'm gonna take care of it the best way I can, and God gonna provide it for me. If I can't do it, He gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
Easy. If it's not in if it's not in my control, if it's out of my control, then it's in His.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I'm saying, coming from that point and still, having the same faith and even questioning, because Job doubted and questioned too during that process. Like, what am I supposed to do? Why? Like, why did you leave me here? Why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you just cut me off earlier? Why didn't you just, what I'm saying? Why am I not dead yet? It's like, nah, patience, enduring the process. All right, I'm still going to trust you. I'm still going to believe in you. I'm still going to wait on you. And not only did you, wait and trust and believe and get what He said He would give you. Did you get back to a place that He said He would give you? He went over that. He exceeded it, which is the same, I can relate to that because it's exceeding. Like, this is 2:00, like I said, 2:00 in the morning, trying to figure out where you're going to stay to. This is your own crib, your own cars, your own family, all of this stuff. Like, you got everything that you asked for and more.
Yeah. You made me realize, and I see what you did, God. I'm gonna get back to it. He wanted you to hit a key word with me but we'll get back to it. But you made me realize, as far as Job's story just now, and I've known Job's story, and I used to be like, fudge, that's crazy. But you made me realize how alike his story is to Jesus, though.
Yeah.
Losing it all, but still at one point, you have this mission, you're on this mission for God, you keep your faith at all times. Everything is about to be or either taken away from you, and you have this moment like, hey, yo, if you could take this from me, please. Like Jesus, like, yo, because even what a lot of people don't take into consideration, Jesus had a weak moment. And it'd be like, yo, I really want to do this, which made him feel more human and stuff. But I just said that to say, you made me realize how much Job's situation, it wasn't that same exact one, but it was, close to it.
But there's similarities too, because Jesus was chosen.
Yeah.
Job was chosen as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, oh, well, God said, I'm just going to do this. No, Satan came looking for something. So who you got? Oh, here's Job. I choose him. Test him out. See what you can do. And it's just like, all right, I'm gonna try. But you got to give me some free reign. Yeah. Same way with Jesus. Satan had an opportunity with Jesus. Coming in the wilderness, famished. Here comes Satan right here. Let me see if you're really gonna stick to, if you really God. Because you in this fleshly body. But let me see if you really God in that. Let me test that the same way with Job. Let me test that. What's in this body you got here? What's in your faith? What you got left in there? But God knew the outcome on both hands. But it didn't make it any less difficult to, want to kind of come out of it or give it up. It's like that. I don't want to do this. But like I said, nevertheless,
will be done.
It will be done. Yeah.
Yeah. You said chosen too. It's funny you say chosen because me and my homegirl, shout out Jeanette Yona, we we be talking about Chosen
Yeah.
all the time, the series.
Yeah.
Do you watch that?
I haven't
think his
started
name
it.
is Dallas, the dude who made it. Oh, bro, you have to. There's one thing to read the stuff, but to actually see a series that feels, and you get to see the humanistic parts of them too.
Yeah.
It's not just holy.
Yeah.
No, it's like you get to see Peter on some bull. You
Yeah.
get to see all of them kind of
Yeah.
like interact with each other, like have attitudes and
Yeah.
all of that stuff, and see Jesus in a form that, I mean, it seems like Jesus would be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it just makes you fall in love. You know
Yeah.
how we look at everything, like we'll look at power, fall
Yeah.
in love with ghosts. We look at this, you're like,
Yeah.
this Jesus character,
Yeah.
bro. It's just, it's
Yeah.
my favorite Jesus
Yeah.
character. I ain't gonna lie, like that Chosen series is so fire, bro. You should watch it.
I'm definitely gonna check it out, man.
As soon
Yeah.
as possible. Divorce.
Mhm.
You brought that up
Yeah.
when we were, and I think that's what God wanted me to hit
Yeah.
when I'm asking you what's your favorite,
Yeah.
because I wasn't even thinking about
Yeah.
divorce. You get divorced,
Mhm.
but you still love.
Yeah.
The way you're taught, if like a lot of people, like you're not supposed to get divorced.
Mhm.
You got. What's the only reason you can? They say you're supposed to be able to get divorced.
Infidelity.
Infidelity.
Yeah.
Was it infidelity?
No, it was well, let me go back without putting too much emphasis on what's going on there. Let me get that right. But there were given to me, and this is my understanding, infidelity, abandonment, and abuse. But reconciliation has to come before abuse. Opportunity for reconciliation.
Opportunity.
And so with some of those things happening, and I think people find it odd. Immediately you go to that, and you go to divorce. I know what the problem is. Got cheated immediately. It's easy like that. When in all actuality, I mean, people don't understand. When it was divorce or time for divorce, I filed for divorce. That was me. That was never her intention. So, with some of that stuff going on, so many of those things going on, trying to reconcile that situation, like I tried to reconcile it. We did what we could do, what we knew to do, to try to reconcile it, going through the processes and the steps, and then coming to the understanding that this was, first of all, this was never the intention of God. I know a lot of people like to throw in the show, well, God put together, let no man, put asunder. If God didn't put it together, it can be torn apart. He didn't put it together.
But he blessed it though, didn't
he? He will. He will bless it. But just because he honors it, God always honors it, but he didn't put that together. So it's not him keeping it together.
It wasn't built.
It wasn't built for that. Yeah, it wasn't built on that. So, two people do that all the time. Like, we get in places that we're not supposed to be, or go places, connect with people. You're not supposed to. But I'm gonna try to do this anyway. And now when it goes down the wrong path, when it leads here, you are forced to step back. And like we talked about earlier, I was forced to step back and look at, what was my part to play in this? What did I do? Because I had a part to play. It wasn't just strictly on one person. I definitely had a part to play in it. What was my part to play in it? And I had to sit with that. So,
you think sitting with that helped you? Because we're made to think that, or believe, or however you want to put it. It's just a lot of people are like, when I get divorced, I ain't doing that again, or you know what I'm saying? It's just too much. And then like a lot of people who go through the divorce to tell you all these bad things and have you believing your marriage ain't that, bro. What they say it is ain't that. So as a person who done been through the marriage thing and going through the divorce or whatever, what makes you still want to deal with it? What makes you want to try it over? Why? Like you've done it.
It goes back to, we talk like lover boy, bro. Like relationship.
You can love without marriage.
Yeah, but I've never been a boyfriend. I'm not the boyfriend. I'm not the like. That's not who I am internally.
Yeah.
I don't have that type of. I can just be your boyfriend forever. No, I'm trying to have a commitment that we both can benefit from. Like I don't want to just. And when I say benefit, I'm not talking about you know materialistic
No, no,
things.
no.
I'm talking the spiritual things, the way that God intended it. Those things are like that's my natural instinct. It's what I want to do. It's what I would rather do. I don't want to be a boyfriend or just dating you for 6 years for what? What's the next step? What's the purpose? Why are we doing this? Why like that's always been who I was. Even when I've been hurt to the point where I don't want to do this no more. I'm cool. I'm good. Yeah, that's the initial. But in the core of who you are at the heart, that's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
This is where you want to be. So having that relationship has always been the desire. I mean, I've known that since I was in middle school. Actually, I always said I'm gonna get married.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I'm gonna get married and have a wife and kids and a family. I've always wanted that. Always wanted it. So that I mean, I could get a little callous from heartbreak or hurt, but I always came back to it. I
Mm-hmm.
always came back to it. This is it's who I am.
Mm-hmm. Do you think every time you came back to it, you came back better?
Absolutely. I
Every
didn't.
time.
I had to.
Okay.
I had to because I'm already a person that thinks a lot all the
Mm-hmm.
time. So if something happened and it don't work out or we get to this point, I'm always thinking, okay, where was I not good enough at? What did I not do? How did I fail here? Like, what can I do better? What can I do different? Whether that's something that I accepted or something that I did or didn't do on my own.
Mm-hmm.
But there was something. There's always something. Like you said, there's never 100% blame on anyone that
Yeah.
I've ever been in any type of relationship with. It's never, oh, it's all her fault. I don't care what it is. Somewhere, somehow, some part of the responsibility was on me. It had to be because I'm in the relationship. So either I allowed something or I didn't allow something. But somewhere there's something that was a part or was my own part that I did or didn't
Yeah.
do. So somewhere,
Man, there's such a small group of people who actually know how to think like that when you talk about, because if she cheated on me, like physically slept with another man,
mm,
or he cheated on her, physically slept with another woman or man, well, however it goes, you know
yeah,
what I'm saying? It's hard for you to think about what you did wrong.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah,
nobody goes back and think like, what made me cheat? I ain't saying nobody.
yeah,
It's a very small group of people go back and think, damn, what made them cheat on me, and how can I probably do better in the next relationship
yeah,
to keep me. So I gotta commend you for that. And like you said, I don't know. I'm not in
yeah,
a relationship like that with you, but if you really always been able to do that,
yeah,
I gotta commend you for that. Even if are you even doing that within the relationship though?
hmm
Like during arguments and
yeah.
stuff like that. Like how often are you able to is it like a big break between y'all, like we 24 hours, then I come back and talk to you, or like is it right there you registering, all right, did I just do this wrong, or you know what I'm saying, could I
Yeah.
have done this better or whatever, or those the times where you got to sit with yourself like on a ride or something when you realize like, oh, okay, I could do better, and how do I recover
I
from
think
this?
communication is the biggest. Like that's one of the biggest deals. Um, Learning to get better at communication for me was the biggest. Like that was a part of my growth and evolution. Like I learning how to get better at communicating exactly what you feel when you feel it, not waiting and something happen and you be like, all right, I'm gonna hold on to that. All right, I'm gonna hold
Hmm.
on to that. And now I done got 27 separate incidents, and now we finna have a big conversation about it.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about because I'm not a yell and scream argue. I never have been.
Hmm.
I want to have a conversation, but communicating, I had to understand you have to find a way to communicate what you feel and what you think in those moments. And if you can't, you need to ask for time to understand that, to sit with it, to understand it, to process it, so that you can express it in the proper way, so that it doesn't get taken. Because even if I have a reason to feel away, or have a reason to, feel like I'm right and you're wrong, I can't go on expressing that to you without there being love behind it. If I love you,
Mm-hmm.
and that's with any relationship. I shouldn't be able, like, and people say, "Oh, well, you tell your friends the truth." You do, but it still got to be in love. Like, I can't come to you and just boom, you know what I'm saying, hit you with all facts cold like that. It got to be some love because I love you. You're a loved one of mine, so it should be love when I speak to you. It's supposed to be different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm supposed to, I ain't got to sugarcoat it, but you put some love on it when you talk to those that are closest to you and you communicate with them about things. So, if I need a moment, hey, let me take a moment and process this and we'll come back to it. But I feel this way. This is bothering me. This is sitting with me. I'm not really sure how to deal with it. I'm not really sure how to process it. Give me a moment to sit with it and process. Like, even if
Yeah.
I don't know, like, if I don't know how I feel, I don't know. And I need time to figure it
Don't
out.
force me.
You know what I'm saying? Like, well, what's wrong with you? I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I would need some time to figure that out. I need some time to sit and think through it. Um, and that's one of the greatest things. And thank God for that.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned how to do that now. So my relationship is amazing because I can do that. It's any conversation, whatever conversation we want to have, even if it's the tough ones, we can have that conversation. And after the conversation is done, we're okay.
Mm-hmm.
We can be okay. I mean, because that's, for me, I know that's a part of my issue. I don't know where I got that from, but I'm not okay if she's not okay. I'm just not. It don't matter what happened, but if she's not okay, I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love you like that. I want you to be okay. And that don't matter. It could be me that did it. I may be, a little
Yeah.
little upset about it, or, I may be bothered in the moment. But even if it's me, I feel like my job also in the relationship as protecting you, not only am I protecting you from other people and protecting you physically, protecting you emotionally and mentally, but my job is to protect you also from me. I still got to protect you from me because I'm still human and I'm still other people. Like, we're together in this, but I'm still other people. So I have a responsibility to protect you from me too. Now, I may not do a good job at that all the time, but I'm always conscious of if I'm doing that, making sure that I'm doing that. Because I don't want what I say or do to hurt you to a point where it's something that, causes a spiral or issue in our relationship. So,
Mm-hmm. 3 keys to a successful relationship with Aaron.
oh man, that's easy work. God first. God,
First.
like, that relationship with Jesus is of the utmost importance, and that was something that this last time around when I was dating, that was one of the biggest things that stuck with me because I said, at this point, at this age, you ain't got a relationship with Jesus, you might as well not waste your
Mm-hmm.
time. Like, it's not gonna go any further than, we just cool, we kicking it, whatever the case may be. Because we're never going to walk together on that same path. We don't have the same beliefs. It doesn't mean I don't have issue with you. It doesn't mean I have to, I don't think you're a bad person. I don't think you're a terrible person because you don't believe what I believe. But for me, we can't walk in the same direction, be headed towards the same goals. We don't believe the same things. So we're going to operate in life differently from each other, which causes points of contention because we don't believe the same thing. I mean, like the scripture says, how can two walk together unless they agree? I have to have something to connect with you on, to have a foundation, a basis.
Mm-hmm.
If we ain't got no foundation and basis, we on two separate foundations, we trying to mix sand and sheetrock. That's a recipe for a disaster. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nothing gonna stand on that. Whatever we try to build on that is crumbling, it's falling, it's slipping, all of that stuff. You know what I mean? So that would be a terrible idea for us to mix like that.
Mm-hmm.
But so that was one of the biggest things for me. Most important, bro.
That
Most
was
important.
hard.
But
Two.
uh two two is definitely communication.
Mm-hmm.
Communication. Like, talk. Whatever, because For me, communication is like this for me. Either I'm everything all the time, or it's kind of like it's nothing.
What you mean?
Like the way that I communicate and having opportunity to communicate with people, it's like either I guess people say over communicative, but
Mm.
I I can I can tell you everything. I can talk to you about everything. Everything. Or if it's I think it only gets to that point when there's not a safe space. If it's not a safe space, you're like right here. It's just little tidbits and pieces. It's usually surface level because I don't feel like I have a safe space to give to you
Mm-hmm.
everything in that type of vulnerability. So that's a huge thing. Like vulnerability is important, like for communication, especially for me, because I need to be able to trust you with who I am, and that's all of it. So I have to be able to talk to you about all of it. I
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to tell you, you know, I don't feel like a good father today. I want to have that conversation with you and be able to trust you in having that conversation. I don't feel like I'm a good husband today. I want to trust you with that conversation
Mm-hmm.
and we'd be able to talk about it. And
Yeah.
you can tell me and give me some feedback and help me get some understanding, of course, with, going to the word about it and coming from it, getting that understanding and say, okay, we talked about it, we can communicate about it, and now we can figure out a plan on how to move forward from it.
Yeah.
So communication, key element. That would be the second biggest key. Um, and I think as far as the third key, uh, man, I guess I would have to think about a third.
Yeah, I mean,
A good third key.
you don't have to force it out of yourself, unless it just pop up in your head while we
Yeah,
talking.
it'd probably pop up like, cause it's so much, not so much stuff, but um, I can go definitely one of the things that I wanted and I wanted to make sure of,
Okay.
um, you know, healing. Like come here healed, cause I was healed, and I know me, and it's I never want to, like I said, I never want to paint a bad picture, but me as a person, as a man coming up in relationships, because I'm someone who wants to help all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to help you. I want to do for you. I want to make sure you're okay. If you're not okay, I'm not okay. I want to make sure you're good. I want to make sure you feel loved. You feel, respected. All of these things. A lot of times, brokenness was negated. So there are broken pieces here. And instead of kind of guiding you to the person who can fix the broken pieces, was Jesus, who can heal you and help you heal, I try to help you. And I'm going to help you pick up the pieces and we kind of figure it out and put it back together. The problem with that is I'm continuing to pick up broken pieces and cutting myself, helping you. So now, after we've picked up these broken pieces, I'm scarred up. You're good, but I'm scarred up now.
Mm-hmm.
So now I got to be bandaged and taped up, but you're already healed. You're good. So you can't really help me with that. It's like, thanks, you helped me get back to this place, but I'm good now, and now something's wrong with you. Now you're scarred up. You're broken. So I think I don't even remember what I was just trying to say with that. Where I was going somewhere with that, but I don't remember where I'm going with that. But healing. It's like I spent a lot of time, did a lot of work trying to heal from certain relationships and situations, and coming into things at this juncture in my life, I can't afford to help you heal. You have to already be there.
Mm-hmm.
We got to be on level playing field. We have to be, because I don't have the time, the resources, the energies, the effort, and truthfully, I don't want to spend that time trying to help you get to a place that I'm already at. I don't want to have to, in a relationship context, I don't have to drag you along. I don't have to pull you, push you to do the things necessary for you to heal and
Yeah.
grow and get better. Now, I can guide you to where you can get that. I can be a part of the healing process, but I can't help you hands on do that.
And carry the load.
And carry the load. Yeah.
Because I'm still healing myself too. Not being okay because somebody else is not okay, as sweet as it sounds, it's very dangerous.
Absolutely.
And it's unhealthy too.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking to myself when I say that too. Biggest one thing, just one, that hurts you to have to compromise on, but you know you need to compromise on within relationship, if you got one.
Hurts me to compromise on, but I know I have to.
It don't really like physically hurt you, but it's kind of like, man, come on. But I know I need to.
I think I'm gonna say sometimes it's coming down off of a point.
Talk to me.
Because I know I'm stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
I know I can be stubborn.
Got you. Yeah.
And I explain it like this. It's a gift and a curse. Because if I'm stubborn about it and it's for us, I will go to the ends of the earth to make sure we see it through. Dogged determination. I will not move from that until we see it through. But also, if it's not working for us, it's like, yeah, I'm not coming off of that point. I hear what you're saying, but this is the point. And it hurts to have to do it, but I know I have to come off of that. And I've had to come off of it sometimes.
Yeah.
Definitely in a relationship now, I've had to come off of that. And, maybe I'll come back to you in a couple minutes or, even if it's a couple days, whenever I come to that realization, I was wrong, or let me come down off of that. This is a better way. This is a better point. I understand what you did. I understand what you're saying. I understand how this works now. So let me come back to you with this after I stood on that hill and died on it. Let me come back to you on that. So I think that's the one.
Well, I think enough has been said here. Besides what you close us out with. Whatever you want to close the people, just advice or just anything. Just give us some words to close us out, and maybe even a little prayer if you want to.
Oh, that's always got that. I think, shoot, man, one of the biggest things that I could leave, and if I could hope to leave anybody with, man, get a relationship with Jesus, bro. Like, that's just real talk. The way the world is, the way things are going, what's going on around us, life, relationships, death, all of these things. What's the worst that could happen getting to know Jesus? What's the worst that could happen for
that
you?
Is if you're
wrong, you know what I'm saying? It could go. I don't want to say like, if you're wrong about it,
you're just wrong
you're
about
just
it.
wrong. Yeah, you're just wrong about it. But what if you're right? What if it's right? What if, or not even? I'll take that back. If you're right about it, what does it matter? But if you're wrong, do you really want to take that chance of being wrong and finding out at the end that you had an opportunity to change it and you didn't take it? You had an opportunity to take it. You had several opportunities to take it and you didn't take it. Do you really want to, at the end of it all, say, this is it? I made my decision a long time ago. I discarded the opportunities and I threw them away. I heard it, but I ain't really want to get into that because I needed to do more research, or it don't belong to us, people of color, all of that stuff. It's never been about religion. It's always been about relationship.
And love.
Always. And that's the point that I try to give. Like, that's one of the biggest points. Like, I make it even with the sacrifice. The sacrifice is something that's looked at, it's a biblical standing point. Look at it from a context of a regular point. If my mom jumps in front of a bullet and her life is taken, for you don't know her. She's a good Samaritan.
Mm.
You appreciate it. You know the story. It's wonderful. But you go on living your life as you would normally live it. You're thankful. You wake up every day, man, I'm glad I'm here. I could have lost my life. But if my mother jumps in front of a bullet and her life is taken from me, I'm honoring that sacrifice because that's a sacrifice from somebody I have a relationship with. I have a relationship with you. So the sacrifice means something to me. It means way more to me because I developed that relationship with her. So it means more. And it doesn't, the other flip side of that, people it doesn't exonerate the killer. The killer eventually comes to justice. So, it looks like a person shoots somebody and they gone. There's a lot of unsolved cases and all of that stuff. But a majority of the time, those killers eventually come to justice. May not right away, but they eventually get exactly what they deserve and exactly what they're supposed to have. So on the flip side of that, you're talking to me about the judge and lawyer that's never lost a case ever. You don't think eventual justice is coming to the killer, to the accuser that wants to, steal and destroy your life and your soul? Justice is coming. Justice is coming to him. But it's up to you to make the choice to accept and honor the sacrifice that was given to you instead of worrying about and focusing on who's giving out the justice or when the justice is going to come.
Or what color, or all of this stuff, or do we exist?
Yeah.
But it's funny you use that example because that's all. When I first said it, I was scared to say it because I'm like, maybe I shouldn't say this. But this has been my question to people for a long time. Like, let's say you do believe in God, but he don't exist. Well, you didn't, or believe in Jesus and he don't exist. Well, okay, he just didn't exist.
You didn't lose nothing.
But if he is in fact alive, you know what I'm saying? And if he is in fact real and then you didn't believe, you didn't lost a life. You know what I'm saying? And who am I to say God won't let you in? I still hope he let you in. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny, a lot of these people who don't believe him, as soon as that dying moment come, they want something to lean on.
Absolutely.
So it's just like, I think the thing is, people don't want the responsibility of being under God, not knowing that it's, and I'm guilty of it at times too. At a time too, I was guilty of it. Even like being in it now, it's a heavy burden to carry. But like feeling like, I got to give up the strip club. I got to give like all these like worldly things. You like, nah, that life is boring. I don't want to live that life or whatever. But just the believing part though. Just the believing part. That's all. I'm not saying giving up strip club. Just the believing part. Why don't you just believe me there? And don't get it confused. Believing is not knowing. Because if you knew, it wouldn't be faith. You know what I'm saying? So don't confuse it like we know there's a God. And from what's happened to us, we believe there's a God. You know what I'm saying? So the goal is to leave a lasting imprint on their minds and their hearts. We pray you've been indelibly marked. My man.
My brother.